Issei wakes up only to find himself in an awkward situation with Devil Princess Rias after the ordeal with House Phoenix, but Asha walks in, not wanting to be left out. Regardless, during breakfast, Rias gains permission from Issei's parents for the rest of the Occult Research Club to come over after school as their meeting room is undergoing spring cleaning. Back at school, Motohama and Matsuda grill Issei about the rumors of him having a harem and doing sussy things with them, having the audacity to not bring them along. Suddenly, Kiryu interrupts them and tells Asha that she shouldn't be going after someone like Issei. Randomly, Issei's dragon arm awakens, forcing him to see Akino, where she explains that she must suck everything out of her fingers to help him, due to his dragon arm's spirit being stronger than expected. With her personalities and sadistic nature out in display, she proceeds to tell him that Rias will get mad if she does anything more with him. Later, during the club meeting, the group goes over their contract numbers, where Issei ends the month with 0 completed, where he's warned that he will never become a high-ranking devil with those numbers. Meanwhile, Kiba becomes disturbed when he notices that a photo had a holy sword in the background. Nevertheless, Issei attempts another mission to gain a contract with a new client, which he finally successfully completes. Afterwards, Issei and the gang receive an order to hunt down a stray devil at an abandoned factory. The team manages to defeat the stray devil, albeit with some difficulties due to Kiba not paying his full attention to the fight. When questioned by Rias if something is wrong, Kiba brushes it off as nothing and leaves soon after. However, when Issei follows in pursuit, worried about him, Kiba reveals to him that his very purpose of living is to seek revenge against the holy sword Excalibur. As such, back in his house, Issei questions Rias about the holy sword and its relation with Kiba's strange behavior. Rias then recounts Kiba's past and tells Issei that he was once part of a project called the Holy Sword Project, of which he was the sole survivor. Kiba, on his way back, witnesses a priest being destroyed by Fried Selzen, and is further enraged when he sees that Fried is in the possession of one of the 7 Excalibur swords, leading to a battle between the two. Meanwhile, 2 unknown individuals are shown arriving in town. As Kiba continues to battle Fried, he finds out that Fried is actually using one of the real Excalibur fragments, where he manages to hold him off until Fried throws a flash bomb and retreats from the fight. The next morning, Issei wakes up greatly surprised that not only Rias is sleeping alongside him in her birthday suit, but Asha has joined as well. He then thinks about making a move on Rias, but realizes that Asha will most likely get mad. Regardless, as he continues to daydream about the love triangle, Drake, the dragon residing in his sacred gear, suddenly starts talking to him and warns him about the vanishing dragon named Albion. Drake then explains that he will have to fight Albion one day, but Issei accepts his fate and proclaims that he will one day become a high-level devil and harem king in return. Back at the academy, Sona and Tsubaki witness 2 hooded figures standing outside the school gates, where Sona notices that one of them is wielding a holy sword. Meanwhile, Kiryu appears out of nowhere to tease the boys, but she ends up inviting herself and Asha to karaoke with them. Later, at the Occult Research Club room, Issei notices that Kiba is missing and questions Rias about Kiba's past. Rias then reveals that Kiba was previously a part of the Holy Sword Project, where he, being one of the failed products, had managed to escape before he could be disposed of before being found by her on the verge of his demise. Akino then arrives at the club room with Sona and Tsubaki and Tao, as Sona asks for Rias to discuss the 2 people that she earlier encountered. Afterwards, as Issei and Asha head home, they sense that something is amiss at the house, causing them to rush there, only to find 2 strange girls talking with his mother, one of whom is actually his childhood friend, Arina Shido. Regardless, Issei heads back to his last client from the previous day to fully complete his pact. The next day, Xenovia and Arina arrive at the Occult Research Club, where they inform Rias and the gang about their purpose being in the town, which is to actually retrieve the stolen Excalibur swords, but they also issue them a warning not to interfere with their work. Upon leaving, Xenovia notices Asha, who was previously known as the Holy Maiden before her excommunication as a witch, and berates her for becoming a devil. Seeing Xenovia further insult Asha, even going as far as to attempt an exorcism on her, Issei intervenes and challenges the girls to a fight, with Kiba joining his lead. As such, the 4 begin to prepare for battle. The fight quickly begins, where Issei faces off against Arina while Xenovia battles Kiba. Issei then thinks about using his signature move, but Arina is warned that Issei can easily blow away her clothes. On the other hand, Kiba begins dual-wielding, but his swords disintegrate from a single hit of Xenovia's Excalibur of destruction. Issei then attempts dress break on Arina, but he accidentally misses and gets dealt with by Kaneko. However, Issei suddenly falls to his knees while Kiba simultaneously loses to Xenovia as well. After their defeat, Xenovia reveals to Rias that the one who has stolen the Excalibur swords is a fallen angel named Kokabiel, leader of the Grigorous. Kiba then informs the two exorcists that Fried is involved with the fallen angels as well, but is only met with a warning to not get involved. Back at the Occult Research Club, Kiba storms out of the building, still extremely frustrated over his loss to Xenovia. The next day, Matsuda and Motohama are overjoyed with Asha confirming that she's coming to karaoke, but Issei is seemingly occupied. After finally deciding that he's going to assist Kiba in his endeavor of seeking revenge against the Excalibur swords, he coerces Saji into his plans with Kaneko's help. As such, the trio venture off to find both Arena and Xenovia, where the trio encounter the two begging for money on the streets. They take the two to dinner, where Issei explains that they want to help them with destroying Excalibur. Xenovia agrees, telling Arena that it would be quite difficult to retrieve all three swords on their own. Now teamed up, the group descend upon Kiba, where Xenovia reveals that the Archbishop of Annihilation, the man behind the Holy Sword Project, has been branded as a heretic and excommunicated by the Church. Shortly after the two exorcists leave, Kiba thanks them and recalls the experiences he had to endure under the Holy Sword Project, where he was stripped of freedoms and treated as trash. Unfortunately, the experiment was a failure, so they had to be disposed off to hide what has occurred. As he escaped and on the verge of dying, Rias appeared and took him under the banner of House Gramarye. Back in the present, Asha appears to cheer up Issei with a nurse outfit, explaining that Kiryu told her that he would feel better if she showed up as so. Later that night, Issei meets up with Kiba and the others, starting their plan to destroy the Excaliburs. Meanwhile, a mysterious young man appears beside Issei's client. As Issei and the others start their operation to search for Fried and the remaining Excalibur fragments, they discover that Fried is lurking around an abandoned warehouse, which was previously used by the stray devil named Visor. Kiba then engages Fried in one-on-one combat until Issei, Saji, and Kaneko intervene, giving them a numerical advantage. However, before they can finish off Fried for good, an elderly man suddenly appears, introducing himself as Valper Galilei. With some advice from Valper, Fried manages to get better control of his Excalibur, thus causing the tides of war to reverse. However, before he can overpower Kiba and the group, a timely arrival of Xenovia and Arena foils Fried's plans and saves them. Valper, realizing that the situation is quickly escalating, suggests that they should escape, which they then do after Fried successfully uses his flash bomb. Kiba, Xenovia, and Arena then chase after the two as the others arrive at the scene. Meanwhile, Issei and Saji are punished with 1,000 spankings for taking action without seeking permission. Back at the Yuuto residence, seeing Asha greet both her and Issei, Rias decides to accept the sussy challenge. The next day, when Rias, Akino, and Kaneko dispatch their familiars throughout the city in order to search for missing trio, they find an injured Arena lying outside the town's outskirts. After healing her with Asha's help, Tsubaki takes Arena to the Citri residence for further treatment. Fried once again appears, this time revealing that he now has the possession of all 4 Excalibur swords, ever since he had stolen Arena's Excalibur mimic. He then introduces his boss, Kokabiel, one of the leaders of the fallen angels. Kokabiel then reveals his true motive behind stealing the Excaliburs, which is to ignite another great war amongst the 3 factions. Disappointed that Michael only sent grunt exorcists to stop him, Kokabiel decides to target the devils of Kuo Academy in order to force the hand of the 4 Satans. After the fallen angel leader uses a small attack as a diversion, Issei and the others head back to the school to prepare for their upcoming battle with Kokabiel. Meanwhile, at the academy, Valper and Fried are shown to be inside a magic circle, undergoing an unknown ceremony, as Kiba and Xenovia overlook the situation from afar.